Hi everyone, I wanted to do a quick update about where we're at with Tiny Tapeout 2. In this video we're going to have a look at some of the submissions that have come in and what we're aiming to get to. I've got a short interview with Dan Burke about the origins of the word tapeout, and we've also added some content to the website about how to transfer from an FPGA design to an ASIC design. Things have been a bit slower than I'd hoped for. We've only sold 20 slots so far. And originally I'd hoped that we would get up to 200, but now I'm thinking if we can get to 100, then that would still be a really good success. So if you're stuck with anything, if you need help, if there's anything blocking you from making a submission before Monday, then please let me know, get on the Discord and tell me what you need. One thing we're thinking about is running a group hackathon to get a whole bunch of people over the deadline. So if that's something that's interesting to you, then just let me know in the Discord and we can arrange a time. Having said that, I'm really pleased that we've got these 20 submissions in. I've already generated the first kind of basic datasheet, and you can take a look at this from the datasheet channel on the Discord. Some quite interesting projects. A lot of them are done in Verilog, but we do have some Walkwe projects in here as well. So feel free to take a look through this datasheet if you want to get some design inspiration. I was at Hackaday SuperCon over last weekend, which was really awesome to see lots of great people there. And I did a Tiny Tapeout workshop where we ran 25 people through from beginning to getting the GDS at the end, and that was amazing. And I also had an opportunity to talk to somebody that I met through my course called Dan Burke, who was around at the time of the kind of birth of the semiconductor industry. And I wanted to ask him the origin story of Tapeout. So we're just launching Tiny Tapeout 2, and I really like the name, but I'm aware that not everyone knows what tapeout means. And I'm here in Pasadena, around where the birth of the semiconductor industry came from, and wanting to talk to somebody who knows about where the term tapeout comes from to explain it. And luckily I'm joined by Dan Burke, who was around at the time, and I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit where the term tapeout comes from.
The short answer is tape-out came directly from the printed circuit board industry because the same graphic design techniques and people were used to do these early semiconductors, the very small number ones, small scale integration, medium scale perhaps as well. But tape-out refers to the process in the printed circuit board world where you took black crepe tape to make a conductor, a trace, equal width all along. It's crepe, meaning it's wrinkled. That way you could turn bins with it, and it wouldn't bunch up on one side or stretch on the other. And you would make traces. And so the product the tape is referring to is usually made by a company called Bishop Graphics. So it's both a noun and a verb. My boss would tell me, is the tape out done? Or he would say, when are you going to begin taping out this particular project we have working?
And because in the early days of the semiconductor industry, there was so much borrowed from the PCB industry, that's where the name got translated.
Yes, absolutely true.
And then shortly after that, then it moved to a different technology, right?
It took several steps. Some of the things along the way, the generation of high contrast films were borrowed from the printed circuit board industry, and then those became XY plotter driven. RubyLith was one of the products they used. That's where you take a plotter with a diamond head in place of the pen, and you cut RubyLith film, Ruby for red lithographic film. It's a bonded sheet of clear mylar with some red tinted mylar on top of it. You would cut out the red part only, and then you would weed that out. You've seen a picture of some people pulling out the part they don't need.
So then after you've got this pattern with either the black tape or the pen drawing or the RubyLith, then what happens?
And then you would image that with what they call a process camera. Those are big lens cameras. The lenses are several inches across, no aberrations. It has to be very sharp across the full image. You would do something this big at a time and shrink it down 10 in the first step, more or less, and then use a projection technique to project that down again to get smaller features for your final IC pattern. Excellent.
Thanks very much, Daniel. And the last thing I wanted to mention was we've added some new content to the website for people coming from FPGAs. I had a little chat with Sylvain Minot about the scan chain, and at the end I asked him his tips for people going from FPGA to ASICs, and I've written this up a bit here. we've also got a little bit more information on how to do a deeper level of testing. So if that's interesting, then please check out the website. And that's it for the update. I really hope to see a whole load more designs come in over the weekend, and let's try to fill up to at least 100 by the closing date on Monday the 14th. Have a great weekend.